All right, well, I suppose we could start talking while she's checking in and out and just sort of introduce some people. What do you call it while she's doing that? So super exciting night because we got a lot of really cool stuff to talk about. And we've got new members up. She's out. Let's see what happens now. Trying to be judicious.
She's out.
It happens. Yeah, she's out. And then we'll
Could
see.
be me.
So anyways, in the meantime, since while we wait for her to come, what do you call it? Doug and Donna. This is Anne Marie, I think everybody knows. And we've got Tracy Shea up here.
Hello.
Hi.
And they are our new members, which is
Welcome.
Which is great.
Thank you.
So let's see, where is she? Do we see? I don't see her. I don't see her. All right. Well, everybody knows. I think everybody knows Anne Marie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Tracy, do you know her?
A little bit.
A little bit. Donna, do you know Anne Marie?
I've met her, yes. I don't know if she remembers, maybe with a mask on. Masks on, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I know it's hard now when you see people without a mask on
I
Zoom
know.
and with a mask in the real world.
I saw people in the office today without a mask on, and I was like, "Ooh, it felt so strange."
Yeah.
Right. It is totally weird. So anyways, we'll go with just the reappointment stuff because that doesn't affect
Kathy.
That's it. So whatever the meeting was a couple of meetings ago of the town council, they approved our new members. So we've got Anne Marie, we got Doug reappointed, I got reappointed, Tracy got appointed. Everybody's appointed for 3-year schedules. And so everybody should have gotten an email about taking an ethics test. Did everybody get that email?
Yes.
So
It was from Sherry.
yeah.
I might have. I
Right.
haven't been checking my messages because I've been bad with that email. I got to give you guys a good email for me.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm
basically,
sorry.
you know, as she sends an email to whatever email you signed up with.
Yeah,
and it
I'll
just
have
says
to
that
look.
you got appointed. Oh, here she comes. I think we got.
Oh,
Is it a random
somebody's
person?
coming.
Oh yeah, we got appointed, and then I stopped reading.
You're fired.
617-779-1276. Is that Kathy?
Get fired from a volunteer position. Yeah, I think you can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You're gone.
Let's see if that's Kathy.
I'll have to read it.
I
can't-
didn't do it
glasses-
yet.
My glasses are like giving me, because I have progressives and I got my phone, so I can't see you guys unless I go like this, but you don't want to look at my nose.
Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Yes.
Kathy,
Yep.
yay!
Oh, I am having technical difficulties. I keep getting into the Zoom meeting and then it won't, I can't get the dial function to work. So I've dialed into the meeting, but now I'm trying to get into the Zoom meeting. So let's see if that works.
Oh, there you are. It says connecting to audio.
Okay. But I don't want it to connect to audio.
Oh, okay. So is that good?
Because I've already connected via, well, okay. All right.
So we're good
Oh,
then.
God, looks
We can
guys
see
hear
you
me?
so
and hear
odd.
you now.
Okay.
All
See you on one
righty.
screen and hear you on another.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right, let's start again from the top. We'll just say tonight's going to be awesome because I've got all kinds of stuff to report. I've been working really hard on stuff and made all kinds of breakthroughs with things that we've been working on. So I'm excited to get to that information. The first thing that we have to talk about, though, is our new people. We just hit it a minute ago before you got here, Kathy, but we're going to do it. We've got Tracy Shea and Mike's screen. She's in the upper left-hand corner. And then we've got
Hi,
Anne Marie.
Kathy.
And
Hi there.
Hello.
So
Hey,
there are your
AMG, what
members.
are you doing?
Looking forward to this.
Yay.
And they're here. So tonight, Joy's not here because she has to wake to go to, unfortunately.
Oh.
So she emailed me like an hour ago saying that she can't make it. But for everybody that's here, including, myself, reappointed people, we all got reappointed a couple town council meetings ago. And so everybody should have gotten an email basically saying that you were appointed and that you have to come in, you have to do your ethics test, which is just an online thing. And then once you do your ethics test, I think you give them your certificate and you go down. I think they do a little swearing in thing. It's all in the email that you got sent. It's not a super big deal. So just make sure, let's try to make sure that we get it done in the next, in the next couple of weeks, just so it's done before the next meeting so that we have all our files filled. And then it makes it easier for Sherry. I know that she's got all these committees and stuff, and when people don't do their stuff, it's just, it's kind of annoying. We expect that since everybody applied there, you can raise your hand and do all that stuff.
We'll do it.
I'll go on
Yeah,
tonight.
I think I emailed my certificate the last time. I don't think I actually had to go in. I don't think I actually got sworn in. I don't know if that's a bad thing, but unless the process has changed.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing either, or not a super bad thing or whatever. You can do it. A lot of people like to take pictures when they do it, but I think that's more for other offices and that kind of thing. But you never know. You're welcome to do it if you want to go to the town clerk's office and raise your hand. And I'm sure they'll call me if people are missing stuff, but no big deal. So again, super excited to talk about some stuff tonight. We're going to go through our agenda for the new people that are here. We've got an agenda that gets published. You get a copy of it when the meeting gets announced, and you get an email telling you when the meeting is. We try to go straight across the agenda. We've got a lot of standing items on the agenda. Typically, sort of what's going on now, things that have happened since the last meeting, our special projects that we have line items for. We usually start off with approving meeting minutes from the previous meeting. And then another thing that we have on there is looking forward for future events. And I know I was talking to Anne Marie earlier about some future event ideas. And she said, how do we bring that up? And I said, well, that's a standing item on our agenda. So every time that we meet, we talk about, what's going on in the future and we put things out there. So just basically where we're at, where we're going, that kind of stuff. So our second item on our agenda, if you have one in front of you, it's a BYOA, bring your own agenda, because we email it out. Thank you much. Thank you. You in the back. So our second item is to review and approval of the previous meeting minutes. We didn't actually send those out. I'll have to get through and I'll have to do like the last two meetings. I'll have to do a quick summary. It's a big deal. I got to close the loop on it, but our meetings are now recorded with Zoom. So I can go back and basically take some notes off of that. We'll get that in. We'll do those in bulk. Typically, you'll have gotten the meeting minutes before we meet. Read them over. They're usually pretty accurate. Kathy does a good job. And we approve them real quick. Tonight, we'll defer them since they don't exist. And we'll get back to them in the future. But next time that we meet, at a minimum, we'll have this meeting's meeting minutes. So that's item number 2. Item number 3 is our front projection sign, which is a big project that we've had that we're all super excited about. And I don't know if you've been down there. Obviously, it's our sign, many months in the making. It's been installed.
great.
Oh, it looks so
wonderful.
good.
Yeah, so when we
And
installed
the logo
sign,
looks awesome on
Yeah.
it. I mean, that logo,
Yeah.
the whole thing ties, the sign, everything.
Yeah.
It just, woof.
It's perfect.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Chris, for the work on that.
yeah, I think it's awesome. When we got it
It
done, and I was there the whole day that they were doing it, as they were doing it with bucket trucks and stuff, I got the bunts updated too. The patriotic bunts, they were due for a replacement, and I already had one because I overbought last time, so we needed to buy one more. So the guy was there, and he was a super patriotic guy too, because he's the guy that installs it for for the sign vendor, is a different guy, and he's a flagpole company and a sign installation company. It's John Connor's install. And so I got to talking to him, and he's super patriotic because he's got a flagpole company. And I told him that how we change those things. And, I got the vibe that he was willing to change them. Every year when we change them, a bolt breaks, something happens. I have to call the DPW. It's not it doesn't usually go smooth. Usually there's something wrong. but he was right there. So I just ran down the street, grabbed another one, walked over, and I just handed them to him. And in 2 seconds, I had 2 bucket trucks putting the bunts on. And then when he put them on, the one on the right, 2 of the brackets broke like off into his hand, which always happens to me. And then I have to drill and I have to make a call, and it's just a real hassle. And he just yelled down to his guy, grabbed a couple other things, gunned it, fixed it. And I said, "Oh, did you have a little trouble there?" And he's like, "No. He was just, it was important to him that we had nice, fresh, flat, everything was good." And he even said in the future, because I told him how everything breaks every time I do it. He said, "Yeah, if you have a problem or you need something, just call me. I'm down the street. I'll come by here and whip the truck up on the side and fix whatever you need fixed real quick."
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome.
That's
That's
excellent. Yay.
Super good relationship building, super good guy.
Good.
And it's up there. So yeah, so that happened on Patriots Day, and I got the stuff out there. I'm sure that everyone saw that. So everybody did a great job on that. Like I said, future offer to help us with little things, which is a lot easier when you can jump up on the side of a building because you have a bucket truck. It makes that job so much easier. I sent in our invoice, or I'm sending it in the morning for final payment on our sign. So that'll be taken care of. The only item left on the sign is to get the wiring updated, to get the wiring installed, which will happen during our lighting project that we have going on. I got that incorporated into that estimate. So the next update on the front sign will just be when we get it lit. And so that's the next thing that happens there.
Light up the
Get
flagpole
it lit.
too, and
What's
all
that?
that. Because if we have the flag out, we should have the flagpole. We should have the flag out. We should have it lit.
Well, the flag that we used to use, the flagpole that we used to use, now is blocked because our sign's there. So I don't know what flagpole,
What we're
or if we're
gonna
gonna adjust it. There's a flagpole on the top of the building, like
Yeah.
a really big flagpole.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah. And so I talked to the guy, and he was like, I said, "What do you make of that?" And he's like, "Oh, I'll refurbish it for you."
Yeah. Oh my God, that would be so cool.
Yeah.
We're in
Something
the
to talk
very
about.
top of the building.
Yeah, it's big. It's actually got a wooden base. I thought it was metal. But I don't know where, we'll have to figure out the flag stuff. Like I said, the where it used to be is no longer a mounting point because our sign's there.
Okay, so that
Um,
makes sense. The sign looks really good.
Yeah, and then we've got the bunts. So we've got flaggage.
Yay.
But we can look and see if we want to, add to that or put a pole, and that's certainly not an issue. If it's important to people, for sure. So that's all there is to really say on the front projection sign at this point. It's been a long road. Everybody thinks it looks good. Does anybody have any other comments on it, or thoughts, or things they want to say?
Looks great.
No, but I forgot it was gonna light up. It's lighting up, right?
It's not lit up yet. We're doing
No,
some
but it's
elec-
going to.
Yeah, it's
Right,
got-
I forgot about that.
the lights are there, and the good thing about the lighting is it mounted in right through the wall, and the wires actually come out on the second floor, and
great.
which is kind of good, because we thought it was going to be in between. We thought it was going to be in between the floors, which might have made it a little bit harder, but since it came out on the second floor, they can grab it real quick. I have it into our wiring estimate. I have to make I think there's a note on the agenda here. It actually comes out right behind, what do they call those things? A radiator, like an old cast iron radiator, like a big honking one. So I have to talk to DPW about moving that radiator to get the wiring done. But, it's just all in a day's work, no big deal. So that's it for the front projection sign. Just one last time, does anybody have anything else to say on that? Okay. Building maintenance, we had additional alarm issues last month. We've reported them to DPW. The alarm hasn't been malfunctioning lately, so we're okay there. It's, it needs to be gone through. It's got a lot of old pieces and parts. I think we're just fortunate right now that we don't have a problem, so there's no problem to chase. It wouldn't surprise me if it malfunctions again, but it's not like it's more annoying with a little bit of beeping. It's not like we have a malfunction where we have a fire or stuff's not working, although we did have some sensors replaced. So that's something that we're monitoring. The rear of the building was cleaned up in between all the buildings. If you've been out in the back there, it had garbage cans, booze bottles, stuff left over from maybe homeless people, that sort of stuff. That entire back of the building and in between the buildings has been cleaned. It was a little bit of
That's great.
it was a little bit of a mystery for a while, but I figured it out with DPW what was going on there. And so what's going on there is the building next door to us that's owned by this guy Ralph Penny, who's upgrading it and has done the remediation and stuff. He's getting his various electrical services and phone services and some other stuff fixed. And there was a lot of exposed wire, is a lot of exposed wire and a lot of like wiring and stuff that you don't really want people messing with. It's old and it's been that way for a long time. And so the Public Works Department, not Public Works, the WMGLD is redoing all the service between our building, the bank building, Joy Taylor, and all of that. So the DPW came in and cleaned everything down. I mean, it smelled like soap. It smelled so good, and everything was cleared. The gate has been locked for a little is locked for a little while, which I talked to them about, and we can get it open if we need to for various instances. But the gate is going to be locked in the future, but the gate is going to be changed. Right now, it's blocking our door, which is a fire safety thing that I've talked to them and we can work through. But it's going to be changed really soon. So the padlock in the gate is going to be to the left of our door, so our door won't be padlocked anymore, but you won't be able to get between the buildings again. So the idea is that like, you know, somebody like a homeless person or somebody drinking booze can't go back there and have a little party. There's no fort.
Yeah. So Chris, you addressed the two things I was concerned about. One was, you know, who did it and why, and notification to us as a, you know, tenant in that area. So glad you were able to figure that out. And then we do use that doorway quite a bit. Granted, we're not having a lot of events right now, so that's not problematic. But then, you know, usually when we need it, we need to, you know, be able to get access right away to the door when, and it is blocking. It is an egress. So I'm glad you were able to address all of those things, and to know that the long-term plan is to move where the gate and the padlock goes and to not be blocking that egress. So thank you for your work on that.
No worries. That's the plan. And it's exciting because it's, you know, it was dirty and dingy back there. And like I said, it smelled like soap. You know, it was like someone, you know, I mean, it was just, I was super excited. Then I was a little confused, and I actually found out initially from the guy next door, Ralph, who owns the building, because he sent me a message telling me about all the things that were going on. Like I said, there's like 3 or 4 electrical services that go through our building and feed other buildings and do things in ways that aren't acceptable anymore. So they have a plan to do that. I've been on some emails that are really long and really technical, but basically they're fixing it. That's all we need to know. They're going to fix it. You know, and they're going to keep me on the loop for that. So we've got that. And then, you know, we're just in the future too, we're going to, you know, as we're doing some construction stuff now, and at a future date, we'll just address some building security stuff. We might put in a keypad and do a little bit more controlled access. So those are the items that come up under building maintenance. Does anybody have any question about building maintenance items on that list or otherwise? Okay. The next project is next number is number 5, the lighting and ceiling painting project. So we've got that, and we've got our new flooring project, and there are two separate sort of related projects. And we'll start with the lighting and ceiling, but from an overall perspective, what's important is that I've been working on a lot of stuff, a lot of details, had to chase down. I found out a lot of those details. I had a really good meeting with the DPW yesterday with Ann Waite and Joe Conway, who run it over there. And we had some miscommunication, some information didn't get passed along back and forth. So we sorted through that stuff and got past it, which was good. We found out a lot of info regarding our lighting and ceiling painting project. And for Anne Marie and Tracy, who may not know, we're talking about replacing all the lighting.
I saw you guys when we had our ACW meeting. So I was there when you guys were talking about all the flooring options and all of that. I got to see it all.
Okay,
so cool. I was psyched.
And Tracy, you're familiar with that. We've talked about it, right?
I am. We did get to talk about it, right?
Okay.
And the ceilings.
Right. So where we're at with that is, so there's a series of estimates that go with that, and to get it done. So one of the estimates is for the electrical install, which is basically removing out all the old lights and wiring up the new lights. and what that costs. And that's a vendor called Sanibel Electric, which is a approved town vendor. And I've had Sanibel Electric in several times, and we've gotten the estimate from them, and the estimate is about $9,800, which is right in range of where we expected it to be. And it also, it covers things like prevailing wage and other legal stuff that has to happen. Again, we're doing a town vendor. I did it with the help of the DPW business manager and the DPW director. Sanibel's been in a bunch of times, and then I added in wiring up our sign, which wasn't part of the initial scope, and that's included in that number. We had talked about putting a light on the back door. That's not included in that number, and the reason why that's not included is because that back door light required a lot of power feeds, and I guess it became complicated quick when we were doing the estimate, and it's sort of it's ancillary to what the whole job was about. So we'll come back and we'll figure that out. But we dropped that from this estimate. What's that?
Future phase 2.
Yeah. So so we got the estimate for that, which was $9,800. Yeah, I have the note down here that for the sign, the radiator needs to be removed on the inside. The rear light's not included. So the next thing that we need, we have our plans. I've got a bill from our architect for the stuff that we had going on over the last couple of months, which includes our initial sort of lighting layout. It included work for the ADA entrance from before, and doing some scope work with Mike, and some work on that project. So that was about a third of it. Our initial lighting layout was about a third of it. Our initial flooring layout was probably the other third. The bill came in at $5,100. Somewhere in the expected range for the things that we had done in there. So we're good with that. So I've got that, and I'm going to pay that in the next payment cycle in the next couple of days with that there. So that's essentially where we're at. And then the next thing that we need to do for our ceiling lighting is we need to do a thing called a fixture schedule, and we need to get our pricing. And I've been working on our pricing with the electrical supplier, and man, it's a hard thing to do. I thought it was a lot more simple. It's very difficult. I've got many hours in there. You think you just call up and get a price. That's really not the case, and especially when you're pricing out various options and things like that. I respect the process a lot more at this point. You end up having to call the supply house and talk to them about, where your specs are roughly. They ask you a bunch more questions that you hadn't thought of. And then they have to call the rep, who then calls the manufacturer, and then they call you back and they go through. It can just be very, very tedious, is a way to describe it. But our next big thing that we need is a fixture schedule. And between going through trying to sort of build one on my own, I'm not a guy who does that, and working with the pricing, I asked around, and we had some lighting questions that were open from before. Our architect's done a great job helping us get things lined up. As far as being like a lighting specialist, that's not really his thing. He can spec stuff for you, but he's not super deep down in the trenches, but he's willing to spec whatever we need. I asked around, and I actually interviewed somebody. I got a referral for somebody that's more of a lighting specialist to help us out with this. Who, this is really their sweet spot. It was a referral from actually in town, a company called Testa Lighting, and I sent everybody sort of like a vision statement that Rich from Testa Lighting talked about, and I reviewed all of our materials with him as far as where we're at in layout, where we're at as far as getting a fixture schedule together. Potential issues. I talked to him about lighting color, which has been really bothering me. The consensus from most of the people that we have is that we need to adjust our lighting color down to the 3000K range. That seems to be sort of where all the lighting people think it needs to be. We had one item spec that was around 3500. It just didn't seem right. So I talked to Rich last week and had him look at our stuff. And man, this guy's good. First of all, he knows all about how to get these fixture schedules together. He knows all about doing the pricing. We talked all about that, but he also talked to me about just some really cool stuff that I think we're not going to do right now, but he's interested in, because he comes from a theater background, and he did Jordan's IMAX He also does the Jordan stores, a bunch of lighting inside the Jordan stores. He does the Webster Museum.
nice.
Someone say something? Okay. Webster Museum, a bunch of other museums, MFA, that kind of thing. So he's right in our sweet spot of the type of stuff that we're going to do. And we talked about that. So I talked to him about our schedule and, what he thought it would take to get it done in the way that we need it to get done. And in talking with DPW, we've reviewed all our materials and I'm going to review more of it here. But as far as the lighting goes, they have the estimate there and they're aware that our next item is getting the fixture schedule. And they agreed that it is a challenging thing to do. So I talked to Rich and I got an estimate from him to do a fixture schedule because it can be, in the ballpark of 50 hours or so. And he gave me a flat fee price to do it for $2,800, which, what do you call it? I think is a very reasonable deal. It puts his rate somewhere between $50 and $75 an hour. We talked about going through and getting the specs and getting them to the right level of 3000K and getting all the track stuff and exactly where is it going to go and what are the pieces and all that. I was really impressed with this guy, but he looked at like our architecture as well and the round windows and all that stuff and suggested some other things we can do once we get past here that are low cost, like doing some uplighting and making it so that we could get all our arches to be like a deep, blue or a deep red and do event stuff and put things on our wall. So he definitely had a very thorough knowledge on that. And so I wanted to talk to everybody tonight and see if anybody had any questions on lighting or, what it means to do a fixture schedule and just see if everybody's okay with me proceeding with him to do that. He gave me a bid for $2,800 to do it, like I said, which checks out really well. We could have other people do it, but their rates are much higher and, it could end up costing us a lot more money. The thing with Rich that aside from his knowledge was that it includes not only doing the specifications, it includes getting the pricing information from the vendor and chasing all that stuff down, making sure it's within our budget. And then after that, he will supervise the install when the electrician is there. And then after
That's
that,
what you
he will show
want.
us how to use it.
Right.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's a lot
awesome.
more than just like our architect. Our
Yeah.
architect will spec stuff. And if you tell him to spec
Yep.
something else, he'll spec something else.
Right.
It's a very expensive
Yep.
proposition, which is why a fixed price and going through, hey, can you help us price? Hey, can you do this? But yeah, the idea that he's going to be there during install, the idea that he's going to train us on the equipment after it's installed, as well as be available. And another interesting thing about Rich is, the lights that are in the fountain downtown?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's him.
Okay.
He donated those and he wired and he did that whole thing. So he's a
Nice.
local
So
guy.
that's great because that's one of the questions I was going to ask is, in working with the DPW, is there like you did worked with an approved vendor for the town for the bid for the wiring? Is there another approved vendor that we need to work with, or it sounds like Testa is a known commodity and we shouldn't have any issues with that?
Tesla's a known commodity. What we're asking them to do right now is really small numbers compared to anything that we have. It's $2,800. That's not
That's
a ton
a
of
good
money.
price for all of that.
Yeah.
As an electrician's wife, I'm going to tell you, and Brian does a lot of that different, like those lighting scapes and stuff, commercial buildings.
Yeah.
That's a good price.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's answered all my questions. He knew his stuff. I mean, he was really differentiating down at levels that I frighteningly knew a little bit about because I've been doing this for a while. And the idea of having somebody that's much more of an expert than me to work side by side and sort of take that on, I'm definitely interested. So does anybody have any questions about what a fixture schedule is or anything to do with that?
I have one other question. So the $9,800 estimate that you received from Sanibel Electric, is that solely for the sign?
No, that is for the wiring of the gallery. That is for taking out all the old lights, wiring up all the new circuits, wiring up our sign out front, putting a timer on it, And we'll have two main sets of lights in the gallery, and I'll go through the budget thing. I'll go through our agenda, and then I'll go through the budget thing just to answer any questions, because they're kind of mixed.
Will they dispose of our lights too, the old lights, or do we have to do that? Are they just gonna take them down and we have to dispose them?
I don't know. I'm gonna write. Let me write that down.
It's a good question.
Just because with them being fluorescent, don't they have things, or is that just the bulbs? I don't know. And
Yeah, but that's a good question as to how, removal, and we,
Right.
and, and
What do we have
whether
to
it's
do with that
Sanibel
stuff?
or whether it's working with the gas and light department, we
Right.
probably, one would think that the DPW/light department probably has some inside scoop or, knows how to do that efficiently.
Right.
Good question.
I will look into it and I'll get back to you. It may say
Okay,
it on
cool.
the estimate. I just don't have the estimate up in front of me. And I've looked at so many estimates in the last couple of days. I just sent everybody an updated budget sheet, because I looked at all these other things. I'll look into that. So let's see.
So basically, Chris, it comes down to the wiring itself. The electrical part is Sanibel, and then the fixture part and design aspect and an oversight of that part of it is Testa.
Right. There's three items. There's the wiring, which is 9,800. There's Testa, which is going to basically, he's going to do our lighting fixture schedule and help and assist in the install and supervise the electrician. And then there's our fixture costs, which it's
Okay.
on the budget
Yep.
sheet is between, we have budgeted between $10,000 and $12,000 is our target range. And we'll go through and we'll try to, to make it there. And there'll be different models and different numbers. And another thing that's going on right now is availability with COVID. Some of the lights that you spec out, you can get them, but you can get them in 16 weeks. And we're looking for stuff that's, readily available. Come on, Dragon. That's
Yep, old man line.
number 5.
I don't know where you guys went.
All right, so I'll go to number 6, and like I said, I'll come back to the budget list, and I'll walk right through that for anybody that has it in front of them that has a question, especially the one I just updated. Regarding the flooring project, lots of updates there. So I found out all the stuff I needed to find out about the asbestos. So the asbestos, we were supposed to be forwarded more info on the results and costs and stuff. That didn't happen for some reason, but we've resolved that. So we have like 2% asbestos, which requires one of two things. You can either abate it, remediate it, those types of words, or you can do what they call encapsulation, which is go over it. So like floor over floor. So it's on the floor. If we don't disrupt it and we go on top of it, that's one solution. The other solution is to pull it all out. So it's literally like minutes.
What's cheaper?
So what's cheaper is, and the path we're going down is to abate it in this case. And the reason that we're
Really?
talking, and the reason that we're talking about that is because they don't believe that the floor structure is sufficient to accept. They basically said if you wanted to go rug over rug, you could do that, but it would still be squishy and bouncy and not that nice. But if you wanted to go floor over floor, we'd have to do a bunch of doorway work because of between ADA and just changing the floor height. The good news is that the big boogie monster here has always been how much is it going to cost? Is it, $8 billion, and that was a little bit of where I was frustrated at recently. And the number came in, and it's $9,800. So
The same as the electrical, pretty much.
Yeah,
And that's to abate and a new floor? Is
like
that everything soup to
99.46.
nuts?
What?
Is that soup to nuts? Like getting
No, that's
abatement?
that's just removing the asbestos.
Oh,
And what happens if you don't remove it?
We don't move the project forward.
we don't move we have to have
No,
those ugly
no, when
floors.
you, right. No, okay, then I messed up. What was the other option? You said
The other option
covered?
was we can do what they call floor over floor, which we basically put a floor on top of the floor that's there.
Oh, right, and then it would be never, okay.
Yeah, and then it would be encapsulated, so it wouldn't be
Sure.
able to get out and get in your lungs. But the problem with that is our subfloor has issues, and we can't really float a floor on it and have it be nice. We're looking at
Right.
luxury vinyl tile and a really nice finish.
Right.
If we do
and
that,
then
it'll be really
sit,
hacked.
right.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it
$10,000
sounds like the
cost-
factors are not just cost, but also its impact and the results of what we do then
cosmetic.
has an impact on downstream other things we want to do. So it sounds like two things we have to factor in.
Right. And so I talked to DPW about it, and we talked about 4/4. I mean, we talked about it at length, and it just doesn't seem to make sense. With a price of $10,000, if the price was $20,000, we'd be having a different conversation.
Right.
Now, a good thing, and we'll see how it goes with budgeting and stuff like that, is DPW told me that they might be able to pick up the cost for us. And
Sure.
that's really cool. You know, in our budget, and when we talk about that, we kind of have a $26,000 credit with them now for people that know about a heating system swap and this and that. I don't know if they remembered that they owe us 26 on the back end of the books. But the conversation was that they said that right now their budgets are running such that they think they might be able to pick up the cost of the abatement for us.
Or even share it. I mean, that's, you know, if they can't do the whole thing, anything is helpful so that's great. That's a great offer.
Yeah,
And having it be a
I wasn't expecting that. And either way, you know, it's a digestible number. It's not a showstopper. You know, and it's just, bottom line is it's something you're going to have to do. You know, it's an old
Right.
building. We did
Yep.
a abatement remediation when we did the bathrooms, but that
Right.
one was only like $2,000 because it was a smaller space.
Right.
and
Yep.
When will
so-
they let you know? When will they know this?
Which,
If they'll be able to pick it up or the cost for you
well, the good news is that we have enough money in our budget that even if they
to do
can't,
it anyway.
we can do it.
Okay, sure.
The end of the fiscal year is at the end of June. And so I've been pushing on this for the last couple of months, primarily because a lot of stuff happens at the end of the fiscal year. One thing
Right.
that happens is stuff like this. Any money that's left over that we can spend before the end of the fiscal year, whether it's in their
Sure.
budget and
Yeah.
whatnot, is
They
a
gotta
big deal.
spend
And
it.
then the new money comes in July 1st. So we've been really trying to figure out what we can get scheduled before the end of June and
Right.
after the end of June, because we're in two financial calendars, which could benefit us.
Sure.
So Chris, can we handle doing the abatement as its own initiative without having to resolve and actually do the separate initiative, which is to do the floor, to replace the floor?
I don't
Do they
believe
have to
so.
go hand in hand?
They have to go
Okay,
hand, because
okay.
they're gonna rip the carpet out when they do it.
Yep.
And so what we were talking about in those discussions was the fact that when they do the abatement, we've got a lot of stuff in there. We've got a refrigerator, we've got a freezer, we've got 70 chairs, we've got all kinds of standing
Oh, we have to
cabinets.
take that out?
All that stuff
Oh.
needs to come out. And so we talked a little
Where's
bit
it gonna
about that.
go?
So there's a couple ways that we're talking about approaching it. And one of the ways that we're talking about approaching it is they're going to see if maybe they can come in and do half of it and then leave for a while and come back. And then we'll move everything that we
Right.
have into the half that they did. And they come and do the other half. Another potential idea is we might put in a storage unit on the front and take up a couple parking spaces for like a week and just unload everything in the building into a storage pod in front.
Oh.
There are solutions.
That's workable. Yep.
I
All
think that's
both of
the
those.
best idea. Then everything's done.
Yeah, and this is something that I'll be working with DPW on. So that's a detail that is figure outable when we get there.
Yep.
And that's abatement. Now, how long do we have to wait until we can put in a new floor? Like immediately? Like what's the
I
timeline
believe
on
it's
this?
days, not like weeks or months. We haven't
Okay.
specifically said, you know, and then it's this many days till this, but they come in and they do the abatement. And then I believe it sits for a couple days. And then a hygienist has to come in there. And the hygienist
Uh-huh.
tests the air quality and makes sure that there's no asbestos left.
Right.
Okay.
So the
All
good news is,
So we couldn't schedule the floor people to come in while we have that too, because
no.
I mean, we're gonna run into this again when we have to move everything out, right? When the floors go in?
It's going to be all part of the same sequence.
Okay.
So everything
Yeah,
will be
that's
moved out.
what I asked.
Okay.
That's what I asked Anne Marie was.
I'm
Can we
sorry.
do these? That's okay. No, but that was the same question I had and sounds like we need to do these in a very narrow time frame, maybe not one day to the next, but we can't wait 2 months or something like that. It has to all be compressed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it just makes sense.
when we go to do this, we're gonna do everything at once. And part of my great phone call yesterday with them was because I've been working on individual details left and right, and what about this and what about that. And we got to the point where we had talked everything out so much, every single thing. They said to me, "What is your fantasy land for getting this done?" And I said, "We close the show that we have now. We go in and we do the lights. We paint the ceilings. We remediate the floors, abate the floors. We put in the new floors, and then we put everything back in, and it's all done." And they agreed with that. And basically, I think the phrase that we used was from ceiling to floor and then out the door.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's all manifest that. We
Yeah.
all need to
Right.
manifest from ceiling to floor and out the door.
And the reason that you do it in that sequence too is that when
Yes.
they do the ceiling and the electrical, they're going to drop all kinds of crap on the ground.
Right, right.
Yep.
And then when they paint it, there could be drips. So once we
Yeah.
get the ceiling and
Absolutely.
that done, then we work our way
Yep.
down. And they rip all the carpet
Absolutely.
out, everything.
Absolutely. It's smart. Now they must tent everything, right? So it doesn't get everywhere. And
They described it as like ET.
that's how I just figured it was.
But the good news is the abatement companies, you've heard, or at least I've heard stories in the past about it being difficult to get anybody, nobody's available. The abatement company is pretty readily available with like a lead time of like less than 2 weeks.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Wow.
So once we get to the point where we start sequencing and doing stuff down, we're not going to be sitting around waiting for them. And the abatement company's already given us an estimate. They're already an approved town vendor. Like I said, their estimate was like, in that same 9,800 ballpark. Their estimate was for some fun numbers for people who don't know. Our gallery is 1,687 square feet.
Oh, wait a minute. I want to write this down. Okay.
Our gallery is 1,687 square feet.
Okay.
And then if you include the back room, which is like 12 by 12, we're at about 1,850 square feet. And those are the measurements. So the estimate we have is for the main gallery. We're going to add in the back room because if we have them in there, we might as well.
Yeah, I agree.
What's the back room?
That's where the chairs are and the refrigerator.
Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
do it.
and are you including, when you say the gallery space, are you including we used to call it the gift shop, which
Yes.
is
The
where
storage.
Joy's stuff was?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm including the front foyer.
Oh, excellent. Okay, really? Okay, good. The whole floor, basically.
Our building
Yep.
is 2,000 square feet if you measure it from the outside. And then when you delete out the bathrooms, we're at about 1,850. When you delete out the back room, we're at 1,687, I think is what I said.
Yeah.
So it's 2,000, it's between 1,700 and 2,000, all of our estimates.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, all right. So flooring projects. All right. So we have asbestos. We have a plan. That's good. We've got the waiting on the. All right. So I have to write these agendas like a couple days ahead. So it says waiting on abatement estimate. We've got that. Lead time. We've got that. So that's all I have to say on the flooring project at the moment. I'm gonna come back and run front to back on the budget sheet that I gave you when we get through our items here.
So Chris, and it's so hard to predict because there's so many dependencies and so many parties involved, but are you feeling like this work could be done in the next 3 months and could be 3-4 months, but isn't something that we're targeting next year for?
No, we're targeting June.
Okay.
We're targeting.
All right.
We're targeting closing the show in the next week or two.
Yep.
And having the electrical guys come in here in late month. Our dependency right now is working with Testa to get the fixture schedule. So,
Yep.
I wanted to go through tonight and that's sort of all been developing. And, everyone gave me the thumbs up to go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Call him tomorrow.
Yeah, so we need the fixture schedule. I just wanted to get the official go ahead from everybody to let everyone know what was going on.
You got it.
You know, because that was somebody, we hadn't talked at all about that. And so until we talk about things, I don't do things. So now since everybody's on board with that, I will, you know, I'll probably text him after the phone call tonight, because I told him, I said, you know, we'll see what happens. But then I'll have him working on that immediately. So ideally, we talked about schedules, and this all really came together with all the details within the last day and a half. The whole schedule is basically, what do you call it? The dependency we have now is we need the fixture schedule and the pricing. Testa is going to do all that. Hopefully we'll have that in the next week or two. And that also includes availability. If we spec out something that isn't available, we'll respec it with something that is available that's in our price range. All the materials will come on site. The electricians will go in, they'll do their thing. They'll paint the ceiling. And then in June, they'll be doing the asbestos stuff, and they'll do that. And then there'll be a little bit of a balance. We'll be trying to figure out on our schedules and this has to do with some budgeting stuff of fiscal year. You know, we'll be doing it in June. The floor might not get installed until the first week of July because it'll be on the next fiscal. But we're straddling that fiscal year. But yeah, we're talking, this is all getting ready to go down like now.
So exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely exciting. It's definitely, you know, I've been banging my head about this, and, you know, just it's a lot of work to get to where we're at.
Okay.
I'm pretty happy about it.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was, wow, you guys hustled.
Chris
Hustled.
hustled.
Oh, it's
Nice job, Chris.
What's that?
Nice job.
Thank you. Thank you. Click in, and I'm making sure nothing beeps on my computer. Okay, good. And I'm back. And clickety click. Okay. So number 7 is the main floor wall air handler. It says we're waiting on an estimate. Unfortunately, I talked to them, and they said that they don't think we had talked about using a wall air handler for air conditioning and/or extra heat in the winter. These split systems, they call them Mitsubishi style systems. They've been using them in buildings all over town. We have a guy that specializes in that. Was waiting sort of for an estimate and eval. He came in and said that our ceilings are too tall to be able to use that in there. And he doesn't see that solution working. So he recommended potentially, if we have budget, money, and time, or at least to solve the, you know, what's required to solve the problem, he said that, you know, we could consider putting in a 4 or 5 ton air conditioner. Not on our priority list, I think, at the moment. The idea.
Now, could the roof handle that?
I don't know. You know, probably. I would think that it would be put out back. You know, we have a couple. All the air conditioning units for all those buildings are in between.
Wow.
But the idea of why it came up was just that these split system Mitsubishi style things are pretty inexpensive, and a lot of people use them in their homes. I talked to Ann Waite at the DPW, and we just talked about the idea of how, hey, wouldn't it be great for the summer? Wouldn't it be great for the really cold days in the winter if we had one of these? And we did some fact finding, and at least at the moment, it seems as if it's a non-starter.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
So Chris, for this one, I'll just comment that the, you know, specialist evaluation is current approach. Our ceilings are too tall. You know, we will look at additional options in the future, but this is not an immediate priority.
Right.
So we're getting rid of the ceiling fans as well, correct? No, they're going to stay.
Yeah, there's what do you call it? There's been no discussion about removing them. You know, when we can talk about it as the electrical stuff's going through.
Okay.
The thing that would be, you know, as the electricians are in there, the thing that's, you know, sort of, I guess, an open issue is they're white, and all of our fixtures are going to be black.
Yeah.
Because our ceiling's going to be
Well,
black.
I mean, can we spray paint them?
Probably.
I mean, you could spray paint anything. I'm curious though, is how will they be affected with the lighting? I wonder how they'll work that. But that's why you pay. That's why you're paying somebody to do it. So I'm not.
Well, there's not going to be lights underneath them, so there won't be like a shadow.
Like a shadow.
Yeah.
Like a swirling shadow.
A swirly shadow.
Yeah, because none of the lights are mounted underneath them. They're all just near them.
Yep.
So, but they are white. And so, yeah, they'll probably,
Yeah.
when they paint the ceiling, we'll have to look at that. I can't see taking them down because, I mean, think about it in the summer.
No.
We need them. Oh my
No,
God,
and
we
they-
need them,
they
especially if we
do.
don't have another
Yeah.
alternative in the near term. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so maybe it's not as cosmetically pleasing or something, but you know what? Hopefully people are looking down at the art and aren't looking up at our ceilings. So,
Maybe we
minor
replace them.
nuisance.
Maybe we end up replacing them because, I mean, whether it's with this swoop or not, but we'll
Or
find.
just, can we get black fans and not have to remove just change the color? Or paint, like Annie said, maybe just paint them.
Painted. They don't have lights on them, right?
No.
There's no lights,
No,
right? So why couldn't they just
don't think
paint
so.
the metal pieces and then the paddles? I mean,
They should.
yeah, I think it's totally doable. They're not lit, so it's not that huge. I'm just making. I
I'll
don't
help
know.
paint. I'll help
Right? I'll
paint
get
them.
up there and paint them.
We'll do it.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like moving the stuff that's in there. This is a detail that we'll get to as we're doing it. We're not going to take them
Alright,
out.
no
To just
big
take them
deal.
out.
Right.
Yep.
You just said no on the little AC, and I thought, oh God, if they take out the fans, it's going to be horrible in there. But thank you. That's all I was wondering.
There's
Never
no real
mind.
reason to take out the fans other than
No.
the fact that they're white. And even with
Yeah.
that, if everything else was painted black, and let's just say we didn't paint them, there's 3 fans. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah. No.
Right.
it's-
Big deal. Yep,
No.
that's kind of my take right now.
And it's
Gotta
not near the
prioritize with the
gallery
real
walls or
priorities.
anything, so no. So excellent. Very good.
Cool. So do we get everybody's questions on any of that? Okay. Next item is website updates. Doug, I'm going to work with you. Once we close the show, we should move the homepage onto something and archive our stuff. I don't think it's too challenging. I think, me and you talking for 10 minutes, I think we'll figure out what we want to do.
Sure. Sounds good.
You agree?
Yep.
We're just basically going to take the show off of it or say thank you or whatever and move on.
Okay.
Current events. I'm going to close the show down. I haven't figured out the exact date, but I'm going to get the guy going on the lighting stuff tomorrow. But I'm thinking another week or 2. And then I'll get in touch with everybody to close it down. The one thing I was thinking about that I think might be good, and we'd love to get, whoever wanted to show up, but, Kathy, Joy for sure, Doug, anybody who wants to show up, but, the town administrator hasn't been in to see our show yet. And I know that because I've done all the showings. So I think it would be good to get him in there since he's, helping out with various things, and it's good.
Yep. Yep.
Good to keep everybody informed. And this is a really great show, and we have some really awesome stuff.
Right.
And a lot of people have seen it, but I want to seek out the people that haven't, like the town administrator, like maybe
Yeah.
other
No.
people, and get
Well,
them
it's
in.
exciting. The sign and
Yep.
everything going up. It's like there's new things happening, and I don't know.
Donald Wong left his card there one day. I followed up with him a couple times.
Oh,
This
nice.
is another week
I
or two.
love him.
He's so sweet.
He's the best.
And Marie, it's so weird because I can't see your face and I can only hear you.
I know I gotta hold my phone.
No, you don't need to turn it on. I'm just
All
like,
right.
it's funny because you come through and I'm like, where'd she come from?
I'm so lazy. I just got home. I got home from work, and I'm just like, oh.
So anyways, as far as current events, I'm going to shut down the show. I'll figure out that. I'll talk to everybody individually. I'd like to get people like, like the town administrator, like maybe some other town councilors that haven't made it and other people, and see if we can't get people in before we take everything down. I mean, it'll be great once we get everything back up again, but we have something really worthy of showing. And I think it makes a bigger impact when people are there.
Yeah, definitely let me know. Hopefully it's, not during the day, Monday through Friday, and is, maybe in an evening like we've done in the past, or on a weekend or something. So yeah, I'd like to be there for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I
that'd be
would
great.
too.
Okay. So we'll figure that out offline.
I'll just be there.
I had Kevin Moore
then-
was going to come in and do this go live thing that we talked about. That kind of got canceled just because I had a cancellation. He had a cancellation. I don't know that that's going to happen, but we're still interested in people going live from the gallery. I just don't think it's going to happen until the next show. So just an update on that. Show ending to be determined. So there's going to be a new article in the item coming out, and I'm working with Gail Lowe. We did the artist profiles, and now they want to do a wrap up / forecasting
Nice.
type article. And we're going to just basically say the show was a success, everything was great, all that, and talk about some of the stuff that's going to happen moving forward. So we're going to get one more article. We got front pages on all our other
Yeah,
articles.
those were awesome. They were great.
Yeah, we got really the good feedback from those.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was a big
Yep.
fan. You know, I sent the one with Jamie on it to her mom.
Oh, that's nice.
She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Come on. Moms always want to see their kid on the front page of the paper."
Yes, they do.
Nice.
That's perfect.
Her mother texted me. She's like, "Thank you so much. My art lessons paid off." And so that was good. And then it also is an opportunity to thank the Savings Bank because they helped us at the beginning. They gave us some money with Bob at the Savings Bank. When I first came up with this idea of this private tour experience and all that stuff, I pitched it to him first before I pitched it to town council. So it's an opportunity to thank people as well.
Yep.
So we're good there. I'm going to stop before we go to future events review. And I'm going to say, does anybody have any questions on the budget sheet, which has a lot of numbers in there? I can tell you what's on there is basically we agreed that, you know, everyone's okay. I'm going to pay the architect his current fee, which is $5,150. I've got the estimates that we have for the lighting, that 10 grand there. I've got the anticipated fixture schedule to be between 10 and 12,000. I don't have a ceiling painting number. I've got asbestos remediations right in that 10 grand ballpark again. We've got flooring materials. I'm projecting that they'll be around 12,000. Hopefully that's high. That's basing it off of about $6 a square foot for materials. I think that's high, but it's just, I have that down as a range just to make sure we're staying in budget. And I did, we're gonna get several people for floor installs.
That was my cat. I'm sorry, I'm muting.
It's all right. On the floor install stuff, basically the way it works is if any individual project's under 50,000, we don't have to go out to bid. So the floor and all these individual projects qualify. So what we do is we get 3 estimates. And so I had a flooring guy in there in January when we first started. And so his estimate was $4,000 for the install. And that comes out to about $2 a square foot. It was like $1.35 to lay down the luxury vinyl tile per square, and then like 65 cents to prep the subfloor. That obviously didn't take into account the asbestos, which is not anything he does. That'll be done before he gets there. But I think it's a very reasonable price, you know, per square foot. I'm putting in an expense report for about $100 on the gallery. It's like screwdrivers and other stuff. And I spent $50 at Blanchard Awning to put up another patriotic bunt. You go through our entire budget, and with all this stuff done, if everything costs in projection, we should have $12,000 or so left over. I think we're coming under on some stuff, so maybe that number will be higher. If DPW helps us out with abatement, that number could go up 10 grand. The numbers are going to float around, but the bottom line is based on all of our numbers and commitments that we have from people, we are funded. As we roll it out, I'll be working with them about this is coming from this account, this is coming from this account, you know, which accounts the money comes out of, but that's not anything that should impact us outside of a high level.
This is great usage of the funding. I mean, we were excited about the rear entrance, but you know what? I think that this gives us a real bang for our buck as far as visibility, usability, stepping up the appearance and the level of the gallery space. And all for reasonable money. And so, so thankful that Donald Wong and others were able to help secure this funding a couple years ago.
Yeah, we're super fortunate. I mean, just the mere fact that we have a building at all,
Right.
and then the fact that we actually have money. And I think it surprises people sometimes. I mean, even though it's been announced, they're like, what do you mean? How are you doing this? And it's just like, no, we're doing it. And it's,
Yep.
now keep in mind, we spent 4 years with no money. So that was kind of miserable.
Nice. It's been a long 4 years.
Yeah. So moving on to future events, I'm gonna just say like one thing. I know Anne Marie's got a lot she wants to say, but I basically on our agenda just, with this always on, 3 and 4 month situation for shows with stuff on the gallery walls. I see us always having stuff on the gallery walls, always being available for private tour experiences from here on out once we do this construction. And then other events that we have will be layered on top of that. So if we get something in the gallery for 4 months, that doesn't mean that we don't do a paint night. That doesn't mean that we don't do a reading. That doesn't mean that the room to write doesn't come down there. We can start, layering events on there, but we'll always have stuff on our walls and our place will be, much more fabulous. I wrote down, fall, winter, spring dates and stuff like that. The only thing I know of, and my focus hasn't really been on new events. It's been more on this construction stuff, but the only thing I know of is the Square Canvas show from the Arts Collaborative has been discussed.
Yep. Yeah, and the Arts Collaborative, we got great feedback. People are working towards it. So this month, I'm hoping to have a meeting, that where we can, get some more feedback and excitement from it. But I sent out the instructions and in rough information, the show parameters, and to the Arts Collaborative members, and we got really great feedback. So we're
what's
a
your
go.
anticipated date for that?
The whole month of October.
Okay. Because if we get done with all this construction stuff at the beginning of July, we'll have July, August, September. We'll have. I mean, that's not for that show.
Yeah.
I'm just saying in general. We'll fill the walls back up again with something.
Yep.
I can't imagine us finishing off all the stuff and then just saying, okay, we'll be back in October. Maybe it'll happen. But
Yeah.
But it
But
does
then again,
get
the
hot in
construction
there in
can
the
get delayed.
summer.
What?
It does get hot in
Hot.
there in the summer.
It does get hot in there summer. Yep, it really does.
And that's why we haven't done
Construction
it.
could also get delayed. Like, we're talking about doing this in June and the end of this month and stuff, for all I know, so maybe something happens and, we're not done until the end of August for some reason. Hopefully not.
Yep. But the way the show for October has been presented is it's the entire month. And that's out of the gate, and we've got support for that, and people understand that. So, Anne Marie, I don't know, have you heard anything different from anybody?
I don't know. I've gotten good feedback about it. I'm glad we're doing it for a month. I think that's better than anything else. And I've already started trying to figure out what I want to do. So,
very good.
My piece.
So yeah, definitely October, the month of,
October,
but
the whole
I
month.
wouldn't
I
say
think the whole month.
November.
Okay.
Yep.
What are we doing for Christmas? Like, what can we do? Like, what can we do now? I haven't paid attention to indoor because I've been planning the farmer's market. So I apologize. What can we do indoors now with the corona and all of this?
When you say now, do you mean really right now, or do you
I
mean?
mean, I'm probably talking like July, August, September.
Okay, so it's hot in that building in July and August. Don't forget. So, yep.
We fall under the Massachusetts Cultural Facilities Guidelines.
Okay.
So if you look up the state regulations for cultural facilities, whatever it says that we can do under there are what's allowed.
Okay, I'll look that up.
We established for this show that we were going to do 8 people or less, and that we were going to do sanitizer and masks required and all that. I think at this point, masks I think would still be required, but that's really all subject to interpretation.
Yeah.
Our primary guideline is the cultural facilities guidelines of the state of Massachusetts. Okay. And that should be okay with the town.
All right, I'll check it out before I even say anything because I don't have but I was just curious. All right, okay.
I see us doing private tour stuff too.
Yeah, I think that's good. People liked the private tours. They could make a whole night of it. They could do a private tour, go get a drink, something to eat. Can we piggyback
The way
on So I wonder if we could piggyback on with some different restaurants in town now that the nice weather's coming around. But never mind, we're not going to have anything. Never mind, I'm brainstorming and out loud. I'm going to put myself on
It
mute
seems like
again.
we really can't plan stuff until we know what our construction
No.
schedule
Right, for a
Right.
timeline.
Yeah.
at this point.
So, and I realize even the October show is in jeopardy. So if worse comes to worse and we get pushed out, we didn't talk about doing it in November, but who knows? Maybe it could get pushed if it needed to. Let's hope it doesn't. But we also talked about as we got closer to the October timeframe, we'd have a better sense of what the guidelines were for shows at that time, and so we would not worry now about trying to figure out the logistics for the October show as far as how many people can be in there and all of that.
Yeah.
We're going to worry about that probably in the September timeframe or maybe August timeframe as we get
Absolutely.
closer.
And you can use
Okay.
the number of 1,600 square feet if you're looking at
Yeah.
spacing
Well,
recommendations.
that's why I wanted to write it down, because I was curious and because I'm in how many people can I fit into this little section mode. So
So you had
okay.
said earlier, Anne-Marie, that you had some other ideas you just
Well,
wanted to
that's
throw out.
well, I mean, I've got a bunch of different show ideas, event ideas, and I'm talking to some people right now, some cultural, just like cultural nights and things like that, or maybe things that we could piggyback on and have, do an art exhibit and then a whole bunch of programs. So I'm just kind of brainstorming now because I'm starting to talk to different people and nonprofits around. But I wanted to ask you guys how you feel about somebody should go down to the farmer's market one Saturday and represent ACE. Chris, you should go and represent ACE.
Yeah, we can figure out a plan
And
for that.
just so people know what's going on with the building.
Right.
And,
Yeah,
maybe we could
I
put some
think we could
art
be
down there,
several of
whatever.
us.
Yeah, I think it would be good just to kind of meet everybody, and because a lot of people still don't know and they confuse the cultural exchange with the arts collaborative. That's the biggest, and I know they're all kind of intertwined, but they're not. And
Well,
and I
now
think
the
it would be
the
good
cultural
to have an
council-
individual branding with, now that we've got, the new sign and everything, and
Did you
so
know
I'm
the
just gonna
cultural
throw that
council
out
is
there.
now called the Arts Council?
The Arts Council.
So the
Oh,
cultural
the Cultural Council is now the
Cultural
Arts Council?
asked for a name change about
Interesting.
a month ago, and their reasoning was because people confuse us with them. That was what they said.
That is true, because I got confused when I was president of the Cultural Council. Everybody thought I was on the ACE board. So
I guess
it
that's
is,
a
and I get
thing.
it. People, you know what? There's 8 billion of us little groups, so
We have the best sign though.
right. We're all trying to just make a better Wakefield.
The way it works in Massachusetts is every town, every city or town has the opportunity to have a cultural council. And in 2 cases outside of Wakefield, and I believe it is Somerville and Cambridge, a cultural council can also be called an arts council if they ask for permission.
Okay.
And so
I was going to say, so they can still get funding from Massachusetts Cultural Council, correct?
it's the same thing. They just have a new name.
Okay. Okay.
So of the 350 whatever things there are, Somerville and Cambridge call it an arts council, and everybody else calls it a cultural council. The only difference is the name, but it's the same exact
All
thing.
right.
But they wanted to become the arts council, and which is the only thing that's a little strange about it to me, and I don't even care, is figured they might attend a meeting with us and ask us and say, hey, because we have that, but it doesn't really matter. They award out that money every year, and that's at the moment that's the extent of their obligations.
Yeah.
I know that they
Yeah, that's really all they do. Is really just figure out who's going to get that money, which is really difficult. That's a hard job.
so they're the Wakefield Arts Council now.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good to know.
And, I assume that, we'll continue to next year when they give out their awards. If they're not doing it virtually and they need a place, we'll provide that place.
Oh, that would be nice, because that was
That's what
always a
we've
nice
done, right?
night.
That's what we've done
Yep.
the last several
Yep.
times. We provide the venue, people get their awards, they take their pictures. It's usually right before.
That's how we got Donald Wong there that time, because I said, let's use the let's use cultural exchange that night. And it ended up working out really well. The kids' art was there. It was a nice night that night.
So they do it on, so you guys end up doing it on a Wednesday. And
Yep,
then on
the Wednesday, and then they have the
is
Thursday, they have
is
the show.
senior show.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah,
And no show
hopefully if
this
the
year?
world comes back, we'll go back to that.
Oh, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
I'd like the world to come back. Do you have any other ideas, Emery, that we want to talk about?
I had a bunch of show ideas, but a lot of it depends on what's gonna happen. I think we need to do art and edibles again. That's definitely a show that needs to happen again next year. Only I think
Yep,
it needs to be
agreed.
for a month. I want to get more restaurants involved. I could, and with all my farmers market connections, that ended up being an interesting thing. Maybe we can get more of that going. There's no reason why I can't let the worlds can't collide, because there's such a connection between the two. So I'd like art and edibles. I want to do art blooms on Albion again next year. So that's an idea. And I have a bunch of different cultural program things I'm trying to get together. So I don't want to say what they are and then
With
happen,
with
so.
the art blooms thing, Emery, I don't know if you know that Donna up here in the top right is the president of the garden club.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. See, so that's perfect. So,
So-
we can have
a
such a,
small
what a nice
world.
thing that would be.
Yeah, so
So
that's a good collaboration opportunity.
absolutely, absolutely. And then, maybe we can pick we'd have a theme and we could do, yeah. So that would be fun. All right, excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I definitely want that to happen again. But it all depends on, so next year really is our plan to start. planning
Yeah,
for
well,
next
at
year.
one point, Anne Marie, when we met with the Arts Collaborative it must have been March, and we were talking about looking forward for the rest of the year. You had some thoughts about, could we do any kind of, indoors holiday show or holiday sale or holiday exhibit.
I think we should have like an
So-
artisan fair or something.
So I was going to bring that up at the next Arts Collaborative, but I also wanted to see, what was on the calendar for potentially November or December or even mid-November through mid-December for the ACE building. So I think we just start to.
Yeah.
I think we start to talk about it and see what starts to gel. It doesn't sound like there's anything concrete yet,
Yep.
but I think we need to just start moving it forward.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool. Does
Alright.
anybody else have any ideas or wants to talk about any kind of future events or future stuff? Okay. Number 11 is one that we've had on here for a while. I'm going to just leave it as a placeholder. This idea of an artist challenge or contest that we sponsor. One of the things that we had talked about was having people, maybe challenging people to draw images, pictures, that type of thing, whatever their medium is, of various places in towns, maybe select different neighborhoods. Also the idea that since we have a sign on the building now, maybe we challenge people to draw our building and get a bunch of different, views and images of our building now that we have a sign and can add all that stuff on there. We could offer, standard contest stuff. We could offer prize money. We could get vendor, we could get local businesses, restaurants, to sort of sponsor, hey, if you have the best thing or how that's determined. I'm going to just leave that as a placeholder on here. I don't really have too much.
Could you just give them some social media spotlights and look at our winner? Would that be enough for people?
I'm going to be honest with you. Usually not. The contests that I put together,
Yeah.
usually I want to have a good prize because people won't do it. So like,
Yep. All
when we
right.
did photo contest a couple years ago, I got like Pit Stop to give away like a $50 gift certificate. Why? Because that's enough worth changing your day for.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, maybe we could do something with that and the farmer's market. Because I wanted to do something kind of an art contest too. So, and maybe we could do something where we could kind of put it all together, and I could get some of my vendors to make a basket, and we could give away like a big farmer's market basket or something.
Absolutely. I think
All right.
farmers market collaborations are something that
Yeah,
we definitely should
well,
do.
you know
We should
it's gonna
definitely talk
happen.
about,
awesome.
you know, all of us talk independently, outside of, the Zoom calls like this. So we can just start independently brainstorming stuff, and then just
Okay.
bring it here next time we have a meeting. Just bring it here and say, hey, here's what we're thinking about. I think all of us have, built and done events before. Anne Marie, you especially. I mean, you are the veteran and the head event person for like 10 different
My
events that
brain's
we've done.
always thinking about all that stuff. Okay, awesome. All right, so I have a lot of things going on in my head. So excellent, thank you. And I'm sorry I've taken up a lot of time, so I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to mute myself.
That's okay. We're only an hour and 20 minutes, so that's pretty good. Try to usually.
Yeah, we
stick
should
for
be
an hour,
winding down. Yep.
Number 12 is just unanticipated topics. Just an opening for anybody that wants to talk about anything or any idea.
No, but I better get some ideas fast.
We'll get you in there. What do you call it? And we'll put you in charge. Everyone will have to get by you to get in.
You should.
All right,
do
that
the
sounds good.
farmer's market. You have a great Good, you're very enthusiastic.
We'll figure out the we'll figure out the farmers market thing. Maybe the next thing that we do is really with that, because the farmers market's very active through the spring and the summer
Right.
months, whereas we're not necessarily in the building. And the
Right.
same with hooking in with the garden club. I mean, I think if
Right.
we're at the farmers market, we should talk about ACE. We should give the garden club a little sign up thing so they can sign up
Yep.
new members. And the arts collaborative, you got the garden club, you got the arts collaborative. Hey, what, you're a painter and you want to join the arts collaborative? Great. Hey, you want to make wreaths? Join the garden club.
Right.
Hey, you want to do something else? Whatever. But I think all these different things, because gardening is artwork. You know what I mean? In a different way.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
absolutely.
So Anne Marie, I think I might have let you know in a phone call that Elizabeth was really sincere about working with you to try and coordinate,
Yes.
Arts Collaborative, probably maybe once a month for the farmers market
I
or
think
something.
it's good.
So
I'm
we
gonna
could.
send her an email. When's our next
Okay.
meeting? Or I'll look in my emails.
Well-
I've been really bad about checking my old Create emails because I'm just
Okay.
not in that space anymore. I'm in
Yeah.
a different world. So,
So I'm
I'll let
I'm
you know my
targeting
email.
a May. I'm targeting a May meeting for the Arts Collaborative.
Okay. Okay, good. Oh, and I'll be all vaccinated. Yay.
Do you have your
Yep.
email that you're going to be using, Emery? It's
I'm
not-
sorry, what was that?
Do you have your email that you're going to be using, like updated with the town?
Right now, I know I check Create Artisan Studio at gmail.com all the time.
Okay. Is that the one that Sherry has at Town Hall?
No, she's got my Anne Marie at Create, and I not been using that one because it's.
So what's the new one? What's the new one?
I've
Anne
been
Marie,
using, I'm using right now. I'm just using Create Artisan Studio at gmail.com.
So you should update that with her if that's
Yeah,
what you wanna
I
use.
will, because I got to go and look at my ethics thing. So I'll go do that. I'll do all that.
And just one quick plug, the Garden Club is having their plant sale May 15th at the Hartshorn House from 9 to 12.
Oh, nice.
Oh, good.
So that's going to be out there. That everyone's pulling up plants, and they're also going to plant the Welcome to Wakefield sign again sometime soon, right?
Well,
Pulling up
the
plants.
pansies are in now. The geraniums will go in at the end of May.
Nice.
So pretty.
That's all we have on our agenda, though. What do you call it? If nobody has any other stuff, it's time to adjourn.